Okay, you guys going out of state on these hunts in Pennsylvania, New York, or any other state where you got to skin your own deer, you're going to want to pick yourselves up a scalpel blade. 22 is the size I use here, and they just slip on these handles. You can't really do this easily with a buck knife. First thing I do, you don't have to do this, but I take a measurement from the corner of the eye, the front corner where the bone is, to the tip of the nose. Right inside the corner of the eye to the tip of the nose. Measure that. Take note of it. This one is 6 1/4. You're going to go to the nearest 1/4 inch. Then we're going to start skinning. When you skin your deer off the shoulders, you want to leave about a hand width behind the ear butt of neck meat inside the skin. You don't want it too long because then your incision is going to be really long, or you have to try and skin it down while it's on the table, which is not easy. You could do a T incision, a Y incision, it doesn't matter. You're going to go, basically, I like to take these longer hairs here at the back of the head, stick my knife in the center, and then drive it out to one burr, cutting from the inside out so you don't cut the hairs. The skin is like extra, there's extra skin here, so you want to pull it tight and keep working your way up to a burr without cutting hairs off, and then turn the knife around, start at that V, and bring it up to the other burr. Doesn't really matter, it's all getting sewn back and hidden. If you're more of a T or a V, it doesn't matter the shape. Then you're going to skin up top of the skull here and pull. Pressure is key. You want to pull with your thumb away from the bone as you're skinning, and you're going to skin around a burr. Once you start getting it cut up to the burr, your skin basically peels itself off with a little bit of pressure. Okay. Try not to put a lot of holes. Then you tip the deer on your nose. And at this point, we're going to come in from the V and turn it into a Y. Right down the center of the back of the neck. All the way to the end of your meat where your neck is cut off. The shorter the hair, the shorter you want this neck meat. You don't want to go crazy sewing up all this. Spin it back around. We're going to start skinning it to the ears from the back of the head here. I usually try and flesh as I skin, so I don't leave any meat on the skin, because you want to have all the meat on the neck to get a good accurate measurement later for your form. Right here is the ear, so I'm going to skin it a little bit up the ear. And then this is the ear butt. Don't go so high up here in the ear, you want to stay down against the skull. Start cutting through the ear butt. And then you're going to feel the canal. Oh, there's flies inside there. This little circle is the ear canal, and then you're going to put your fingers right here in front of the ear butt. So this way, when you flip your ear over, my pointer finger is, I'm going to come through this ear canal, and the skin is going to turn white, and I can feel my finger right here, that I'm not cutting into the skin. Once you do that, continue cutting around the neck, and then grab this ear turn your knife and start skinning around the burr the other way towards the ear. And you really need to get underneath this burr and not cut the skin into a billion pieces here. Once you get it broken loose, you can grab this ear and peel it right around. Just pull it as hard as you can, and then help it as you get around the antler. When it gets stuck, give it a little cut, and then keep peeling it around the front side. Now it's off the antler burr. We're going to flip the head around, and we're going to do this side. Down the neck. We're going to find that ear butt. I'm going to put my finger in front of the ear butt and start cutting close to the skull here. Peel the ear off as you're cutting, and then all of a sudden the skin turns clean skin. I see my finger, I can feel my finger through there, and then I just start skinning it off the skull again. Detach the antler burr from the skin here, grab it by the ear, and peel it right around. Some people use a screwdriver here to pry it off. I don't really see the need of it. Once you get this all skinned around the antler burr, made a little slice there. I'll fix that, no problem. Happens to everybody once in a while. Start continuing down the neck. Again, you're trying to keep most of the meat off of the skin so you get a nice accurate measurement of your carcass when you're done, so the taxidermist will know how big to order your form. We could measure the skin after it's tanned and get a good measurement, but this is always nice to have a accurate measurement of your carcass. Stand him up on his ankles to let gravity help you. Sometimes you got to pull up on the neck meat to let gravity help you. Use your pinky to push up as you're slicing and pulling down with your other hand. These scalpels, I like to hold them like a pencil and use my pinky as a tool. Once you get to the front of the antler here, we have the eye socket we're going to come up to. This is where a lot of people screw up, so go slow. Put your finger in the back corner of the eye, as far as you can go. Flip the skin forward. Pinch it. So now my thumb is touching my pointer finger on the inside of the eye. If I cut the eye, that means I have to cut through my finger first. So you're not cutting the eye this way. Here's the back of the eye bone. You can see it as you're skinning. Pull up. My finger is right here, so I'm going to go behind my finger, closer to the eye bone, and slice through. That's the eyeball. My finger is protecting the eyelids. Right here. This way you don't cut a hole on the back of your eye here. Keep skinning it down the cheek, around the top of the eyeball, the forehead. Now I come in from this way. My finger's in the eye hole. I pull it away from the skull. You mainly don't want to cut your eyelids, your eyelashes, so stay behind the tear duct area. You're just cutting through the eye skin. The taxidermist will trim it up as he needs. Give him extra. The front corner of the eye is your next dangerous area where a lot of people will cut holes. You want to your tear duct is inside the skull here. It's squeezed in there, tucks in there. You want to pull that out before you slice through. So I'm going to grab the bottom of my eye here, and I'm going to keep skinning, and you can feel the skin is, you stay close to the skull. You can feel the skin is tight to the skull here. Pull away from the skull and break that loose as close with the knife, as close to the skull as you can, into the ear, into the tear duct here. And basically I'm taking my knife on the skull and I'm cutting into the tear duct. Right through here, but underneath the skin. Once it's loose, I can trim around the front of the eye. And here, it just gave loose. Now, I got this out of the tear duct, and I didn't cut a hole through it. If you cut a hole through it, it's not the end of the world. The taxidermist can fix most issues. Flip the deer over, skin down the top of the forehead, stick your finger in the eye hole again, pull it away from the skull, and continue cutting into the eye orbit until you see the eyeball. My fingers are protecting the back of the eye. Stick my finger in the front hole, continue cutting. This time your tear duct is on the opposite side. If you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, it will make a difference on how easy it is for you to maneuver your knife into that area. For a right-handed person, the deer's left eye is easier. So I will spin the head around and work from behind so my right hand can get that knife in where it needs to be. The key is pulling pressure outwards on the skin to get it out of that tear duct as you're cutting. Once I get past the tear ducts, the next time people put a hole is at the back corner of the mouth. So you have 2 inches between the tear duct and the back corner of the mouth of easy skinning. To protect yourself from skinning too far and putting a hole in the corner of the mouth, which again is an easy fix, turn the deer on edge, nose facing up, open his lips, go up against the roof of his mouth with your knife, slice up to one side, move his tongue, slice up the other side, pick his nose up as close to the roof of the mouth as you can go. You don't want it to cut here on the tip of the nose all the way down where the roof of the mouth starts. You want to connect your 2 cuts. Now, with his nose pressure pulled upward, take your knife and cut down along the top of the skull. Work it on both sides a little bit and bend the nose completely backward and just touch your knife to the cartilage. It'll break through. Now be careful, you're coming up to the skin again. You're coming up to this area here on top of the nose. You don't want to cut through and hit this. Pull and barely put any pressure on this cartilage and you will cut through it. Now turn your knife around and start cutting back along the skull. Okay, you want to leave this skin past, here's the edge of the hairline. You want to leave this skin long. The taxidermist will trim it back to their preference. You're going to take the bottom lip, pull it down, and stay up close to the jaw, and slice up each side of the jawline, leaving the same amount of skin around past the hairline. Trim around the jaw, start on this side of the cheek and do the same thing. Close to the bone. And then you start peeling the jaw apart. There's a lot of different ways you could do this. This is just my preferred technique. Now you have to connect across the cheek here. Put your fingers underneath the skin, take your thumb on top, pinch it, and pull it. And when you cut through this, you want to stay, here's the hairline, you want to stay in, whatever, it doesn't, you can go 2 inches back, you can go 1 inch back, you just don't want to go so close to the hairline. And you're going to cut through very softly. You don't, when that skin turns white, see that white? When that turns white, you're at skin. So you're basically connecting the bottom to the top. There's a big chunk of meat here, we'll cut through that. Very easy. You don't have to put pressure, you will cut through the skin. Flip them around and do the same thing on this side. Now the mouth is detached. We do not have to worry about cutting. We will flip them back this way and continue skinning down the face. Now your skin is off the head. Your earbuds are still in the ear. That's fine. You can leave them just like so. If you wanted to continue skinning backwards, when you get to this cheek meat, this red area here, instead of cutting through from the inside out through the mouth, you could always just cut through this cheek like this, and then peel it back like you did the eyes and start trimming it along the bone, down the whole mouth from the neck in. I just find it easier to come in through the nose. Now we're going to take our tape measure. Again, if you don't have one, it's not that you can use a string. You could just ignore this step and the taxidermist will figure it out after the skin is tanned. And we're going to take a measurement at the skinnest point right behind the ears. We're not pulling the tape really tight. We're just going to loosely lay it to get a nice exact measurement right at the narrowest point behind the ears, where the neck meets the head. This is showing 15 inches. Then I'm going to drop it down about 2 inches, and I'm going to take another measurement that's showing 18 inches. So my swell will be 15 to 18. Take a note of that. Six and a quarter was the face, 15 and 18. Those are the two neck measurements. You don't want to go too far down because you could screw up your taxidermist measurements. And honestly, I will not trust your measurements. I will double check the skin, but I will use your measurements as reference. Next step, we need to cut. Next step, we need to skull cap the animal to bring it into the state. You can go right behind the eye sockets. Slice through with a saw. Flip the deer onto his nose and his antlers. And you're going to go right at the back of the head where the head starts to turn down to the neck. Go down the neck maybe an inch. Cut through the neck. Right about there. You can see it in my video. And you're going to go right towards the eyeballs. Watch you don't cut your antler burrs or drop tines if you have drop tines. This brain has to come out. The brain will come out. Throw this away according to guidelines in the state you shot your animal. This membrane has to come out of the deer. It cannot stay in. The skull cap must be clean. Take your knife, clean off all the meat. Make sure you don't have any eyeball portions of the eyeball in your attached to this. Trim off all the excess. Scrape the bone clean. And then you can skin out the membrane in the skull. That has to come out as well. Use your fingers, you can peel it. You get a pair of pliers. Grab this membrane with pliers. Needle nose works well. Peel that out. Make sure you get it all. Okay. Once that's cleaned out, you are safe to bring your animal into the state of New Jersey to your preferred taxidermist with this little piece of skull cap and this skin. The rest of the skull, eyeballs, brain, all has to stay in the state that you shot it. Cannot come back to New Jersey. Jersey Jays Taxidermy, over and out. Hope this helps.